All right, hashtag it happens. I think that's gonna be the main thing people talk about, right? I mean, you gotta think about it, dude. This is something I think no, I mean, obviously, there were people that kind of expected to see it, or people, maybe had a thought that it could happen, but it's one of those things. Like to me personally, I just didn't expect to see. Now let's get into this review. Hashtag it happens is the main thing, right? This is the thing, right? This is like gonna be probably talked about at least for a while. People have known about it. You know, it was spoiled last week by TNA themselves. So TNA knows what's going on. TNA knows what's going on, and TNA is trying. They're trying to save money by taping their shows, but they understand. Hey, spoilers are out there, right? A couple of things from this show were spoiled for me, and not just by spoilers, just by accident. I freaking accidentally just kind of just sneaked up on them. I didn't mean to. I'm looking at other stuff, and bam, I'm like, what is it? What in the world? I don't want to see this yet. I want to wait till this actually happens, right? But I mean, think about it. Hashtag this happens. Like I said, one of those things that people probably weren't even looking for, right? One of those things that people were probably saying, like let's think back. Like this has been going on for God. It's been a while. It's been dragged out for a while, but like you know this has been something that has been like promoted, right? TNA has promoted, like Bully Ray's been like, she's going through a table. She's going through a table. You'll hear an interview with him. She's going through a table. Like that's pretty much been Bully Ray's thing. Like he's gonna put Dixie Carter through a table. And from a fan standpoint, you think about it, you're like, this can't happen, right? In this era, and I think for every company, we can call this era somewhat the reality era, right? Because I mean, you think about it, the fans know more, right? The fans know that it's fake or scripted. The fans know, and was it really WWE? Was it really TNA? Was it really RH? Was it really any wrestling company's plan for people to really know? I mean, obviously the wrestlers were gonna know. Some of their friends probably would know, but was it really, professional wrestling's plan for for everyone and pretty much in the world to know that, it's a scripted product? I don't think so, right? So I mean, and you think about it, you know, the '90s, this was prevalent, right? This was something that happened all the time. We saw women go through tables. We saw women grabbed in places that we don't see them grabbed in unless they're in the bedroom. I guess I don't know if we see them grabbed per se. Anyway, we see, we used to see a lot of things. I mean, you look at the old ECW product. The original ECW, God, we used to see a lot of things. But really, like the question for the video tonight is, did you really expect this to happen? I mean, before last week, before you saw the spoiler, before this got spoiled for you last week, or even way, I mean, before that, when these first tapings were being actually taped, did you really think this was going to happen? Because I seriously did not. I had my doubts. I think I said it in one of my reviews. I was like, I don't think this can happen. Um, Spike TV is heavily against men on women violence, especially men to the woman. You know what I mean? Um, it just does. It's something we didn't. Personally for me, I just didn't expect it because, after I saw the picture, I'm like, well, I can expect it now, right? But seriously though, I just didn't expect it because I'm thinking in this era of wrestling where people know, I think even some people, have kind of coined it as being like the soft era, quote unquote, of wrestling, because you don't see as much as you used to see, I was watching an ROH show one day, and I realized it was PG, and I was like, oh, I never realized that, because I mean, if you think about it, um, think about like WWE gets all this flack about being PG. Well, RH is PG, but no one ever talks about them. But that's another conversation for another day. But I mean, we're talking about this table spot, as you can see on the screen right now. Like, it really happened, right? it was one of those things that I don't think we were expecting to happen. I really feel that way, and comment below, please. Like, tweet me if you want to at beast mode 123 100. Just let me know what you think about this, because I wasn't. It's not that I wasn't expecting it to happen. It's not like it wasn't in the back of my mind that, hey, this could happen, but I really didn't feel like it could happen in this era of wrestling. This is an era of wrestling where we don't see as much as we used to see. We don't see the blood we used to see. We don't see the different type of crazy spots we used to see. Jeff Hardy jumping off a ladder, off the like hugest ladder you could find in your life, and swanton bombing somebody off through a table. Like, we don't see that type of stuff anymore. Even with ladder spots, we've seen them, just get softer and softer, where you run into the ropes, you don't fall outside the ring anymore. You know what I mean? Like, and obviously it's for the safety of the superstar, right? You got to keep the people safe, But it's just, it's such a change, right? And I think, let's be honest, it probably kind of turned people off from wrestling for a little bit, because people would see wrestling and they'd see, oh my God, they're falling through tables, they're going through ladders, you know, all this crazy stuff is happening, and today you don't see that much. Um, you know, Basically, if you're just joining us, I'm talking about the Dixie Carter going through the table, and it's an intriguing thing. It really is. It's one of those things you don't really expect. You don't really, who of this era really said, this could happen. I think even people who are really heavy on '90s wrestling and who really love '90s wrestling and who really want to go back to '90s wrestling, who really want to go back to the Monday Night Wars, they probably didn't think this was going to happen. They probably thought wrestling was too soft for this to happen. But let's get into the rest of the show. I may touch on this at the end of the review as well again, but let's get into the rest of the show. First off, to start this show, and this kind of puts it even more in perspective this is going to be a rough show, right? We get a viewer discretion, a parental advisory note at the beginning of the show. This is something that's different, right? This is something we don't see this in a wrestling show. We've never really seen this in a wrestling show, but like I said, wrestling's changed so much that you know Spike TV is still trying to keep their integrity as well, while still bringing something that people really want to watch. Either TNA has one that at least 1 million viewers every freaking week consistently, so bringing them to Spike, and it's just one of those things. Like, they still got to keep their integrity, right? They don't, Dixie Carter going through a table is probably not something they support with their utmost. They probably don't support not TNA, but Dixie Carter going through a table. They probably don't support that. Full-fledged support for that. But they got to keep their integrity as well. And if you don't know, TNA isn't still in discussions with Spike TV, from what I've heard. You're hearing so much different stuff. I'll probably do a video on that, because I want to do some extra videos. Just instead of running these reviews really long, talking about those type of things, I want to do extra videos with that, so you don't feel like you're watching this for 80,000 minutes and a half. But I mean, you had the viewer discretion, that note, that parental advisory note. You had that, and it's something different. Um, you know, my question is, like, was it smart for them to spoil the "it happens" thing? I mean, you don't have to comment. It would be nice if you commented, because I know what you're thinking. But was it smart for them to spoil that? Would you have rather been going into it with a closed mind, or with TNA knowing what's going on? Was it smart for them to do that? Personally, I think it is. I think it was. It drew more people in, so it makes a lot of sense. But we started off the show. I'm pretty sure we didn't start the promo. We didn't start any type of segment. I'm pretty sure. If we started with a segment, it was really short. We pretty much started it off with a Biz versus Bram Monsters Ball match. This was your typical Monsters Ball match. When you see a Biz in a Monsters Ball, you expect some main key components. You expect attacks, obviously, and you come to kind of expect the barbed wire board as well. The cheese grater is the cheese grater is a lot. The cheese grater to the region, that's a little much for me personally. I can't do the cheese grater to the all of that. That's hurtful. Like when I see it, it hurts. Like I mean, I'm sure he's being a little protective with that, but still, when I see that, I just can't. I really can't with that. Do you guys think it was weird that there were two hardcore style matches tonight? With the hardcore war and also the Monsters Ball. I didn't think it was that weird. I think plays into the New York crowd's hands, right? Um, the cheese grater once again. Um, and then when Taz said slice the M bag for everyone, oh man, that was a little much there. That was a little much there. I don't know if I'm in the mood for any slice the M bag. Not tonight. But Janice, sticks in the turnbuckle again. Prototypical spot of Janice. You're never gonna see that probably ever to the head. If you do, it's gonna be the most shocking thing ever. Because I don't know how they can soften that up to where the person doesn't, you know, doesn't die practically. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna be ridiculous if that ever happens. I don't think it's gonna ever happen. But then again, we didn't think this was gonna happen. But this wasn't practically extreme at that point. We're getting TNA chance, which is always good. And pretty much the end of this match, Bram wins by the shot to Janice. Pretty much the same way he won the Monsters Ball match when it was a tag team match with Bragnus versus Willow and Abyss. So that's pretty much how it ended. Also, one more thing to take of note here: when Abyss went through that barbed wire board, the spear looked terrific. The spear by Bram was terrific. The sell by Abyss was terrific, but the way Abyss just stuck in the board, I love to see the barbed wire spots because when they try to get out the board and they can't get out of it, it just brings so much more validity to the spot. And God, Bram was bleeding so much when he went through those freaking thumbtacks too. That was pretty cool to see. Next we have the MVP Bobby Lashley Kenny King segment. I mean, basically this was basically they're coming out with the women. The women. They're coming out with the women though, right? Pass one along to me. Some of New York's finest, as MVP says. I don't know what the heck MVP was wearing tonight. Did you see those glasses? What in the world was he even? What he had like? I'm pretty sure he had like a leopard print suit on as well. What? MVP's going all out tonight. MVP's going all out tonight, but practically, yeah, the MVP coming out in his freshness, with all his freshness and all that. Basically, this is setting up Lashley, sometime in the future, which I really am hoping for, and I'm thinking it's gonna be great. Um, I honestly feel like it's gonna be Joe Rude at some point, right? I'd love to see Joe Lashley, but Joe Rude, I would love to see that as well, because people are saying TNA's not showing off their talent, their original talent, like Joe and Rude and EY. You know what I mean? People are a little upset about that, but I feel as if Bobby Lashley's been credible, so it's not terrible, right? Bobby Lashley wasn't the biggest thing in WWE, you know what I mean? So it's not a bad thing, and I feel like a Rude Lashley feud would be great. A Rude Joe feud would be great. A Joe Lashley feud would be great. You know what? Just put them all in the same time. Let's just do that. But pretty much that's what that set up. Rude gets beat down a little bit near the end of this segment by Kenny King. Kind of got a little cheap shot there, and pretty much EY and Eric Young come down. EY and Eric Young, yeah. EY and Austin Aries come down to be the cavalry at this point. Next on the card we had Bromans with DJZ. I just call them Bromans because DJZ is in there, right? That's what I'm thinking. Bromans versus Anderson, Gunner, and Shaw. There was a segment before this where Anderson still doesn't trust Shaw. It doesn't matter what Shaw does. He can take a bullet. He can die. He can come back to life. He can break his foot. That was a little extreme one. He can die, then break his foot. Anyway, he can do whatever. Like, he can, he can set Anderson up with a girl or something, even though Anderson married. Anyway, it ain't even making sense at this point. He can do anything. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. The man can do anything, and practically, Anderson ain't gonna trust this man. Anderson, he's a creepy bastard, right? Why would I trust him? Shaw was looking like the man in this match, though. There wasn't really much to note here, but Shaw was looking like a man when he came in, though. Shaw was just beating down everybody. He straight up took the hot tag and ran with it. He was beating up all three of the Bromans pretty much. So pretty much the Bromans win this because Anderson's arguing with Shaw, and pretty much Anderson gets rolled up, just bringing even more dissension between Shaw and Anderson. That's pretty much what's going on here, right? I feel like eventually we're going to get another Samuel Shaw Anderson feud, which was enjoyable to me personally. I don't know what you guys think, but personally to me, it was enjoyable to me personally. There's just more distinction between Anderson and Shaw, pretty much. I mean, and we saw that in the next segment where Anderson was pretty much getting mad at Shaw. Shaw was like, what, he's being the bigger man at this point. He's like, what, it was my fault. It really was. It was my fault. But, Anderson ain't having that. Anderson ain't. So, next we have the Hardcore War. I don't know what the actual name they were calling this match was, but it was too long for me to write down, so I didn't write it down, so I have no idea what the freaking actual name. It was like a New York City street fight hardcore war with the teams, or I don't even know. Like, the name was so long, it was ridiculous. Like, even Taz was commenting on how the name was really long. But I mean, pretty much, it's that typical hardcore match, right? We didn't get a table spot, which was weird, but we got the biggest table spot at the end of the night, so it makes a lot of sense. Practically, I don't know if you guys feel this way. If you look, I don't know if you guys watch SmackDown, but Dean Ambrose, and I'm just taking a little hiatus real quick, but Dean Ambrose and Cesaro had it was like a hardcore match or a no disqualification match. I don't know if you guys noticed, there were no tables at all, ever. It was like a straight up chairs match. Like, straight up. It was a straight up chairs match. I'm pretty sure TNA has snuck in and took every one of WWE's tables ever. Like, you can never go through a table. If you're going to go through a table, it's going to be an announced table, and that's it. You cannot go through an actual table, because if you go through an actual table, you're going to have to borrow from TNA, because they have stolen every table possible. Practically. I mean, don't you guys feel that way? Like, pretty much TNA has every table in captivity. I might go upstairs and my kitchen table be gone, as many tables as TNA has been using over the past little bit, But seriously, like, pretty much, it was a hardcore war, and I love the way they did this match. If you guys, get a chance to watch this match, or if you did watch this match, it was similar to a Lethal Lockdown type of match, the way the superstars came out, which was great, right? I don't want to sit there and watch 8 men, 6 at the time, sit on the turnbuckles just chilling while they trying to do a quote unquote hardcore war. You know what I mean? So I think it was cool that it was kind of like, so EC3 comes out first, then Dreamer comes out, then after 90 seconds, another person comes out. EC3's team had the advantage, I guess, because they won the match last week. And that was cool to see, and it was unexpected as well. We weren't told that it was going to be this style of a match. So I mean, that was cool. I can't lie about that. That was pretty cool, the way they set this match up and did it a little bit differently than just having people just chilling. Just chilling outside the ring. Laying on top of each other, hugging each other outside the ring. It was cool to kind of see it this way. And plus it kind of shows a little bit of a different aspect of it. Pretty much it was EC3, Dreamer. I think it was Snitsky. No, actually it was Rhino. Then it was Devon. Then it was God, who else was in the match? I can't even think. I don't know why it's not even hard. It was Snitsky. Yeah, that's who it was, Snitsky. And then Bully Ray comes out, and obviously they have this mystery fourth member, because they only have 3 people in their stable that they're trying right now. The I don't know what you call it, ECW stable, House of Hardcore stable. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, then you had Rick Lon come out, which is actually his actual name. His actual name is Rick Lon, so that's where they got that from. That's why when EC3 last week said didn't come from a random name generator. That's why it's his actual name. So, and then you had Al Snow. Oh, Al Snow with the head, right? Al Snow? That was like left field. I didn't even think Al Snow was gonna come out there and do some things. I didn't expect Al Snow to come out there. I don't know if you guys were expecting. I'm saying a lot tonight, but it's all good. But seriously, Al Snow came out there, which was surprising. Everybody had the fake heads. Everybody was getting hyped with the head. There was a "We Want Head" chant tonight. Very interesting. Obviously Taz goes, "We all want." That's what we all want. There's someone to there, somewhat to that extent, right? Yeah, that was that was interesting. Pretty much, team Team Bully wins this match, and it's via the 3D to Rhino. Cool way to end it. Basically at the end of the match, you know, Dixie Carter's like, King Mo's gonna knock you out. Bully Ray's like, actually, I'm gonna put you through a table. So pretty much that back and forth type of thing there for like 3 seconds practically. Next we had a beautiful people segment. You know, people were calling this the bathroom break pretty much of the night. You know, eh, it's unfortunate to the Divas division, right? To the Knockouts division, women's wrestling in general, right? It's unfortunate to them that people always think they're segments of the bathroom break, but sometimes you just gotta go. I personally love. I like the women's wrestling, especially when they come in the ring and show their talent. Brittany's my girl, me and Brittany, we tight, bro. I just texted her just now. She just said, what's up, Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast people. So pretty much, me and Brittany tight. That's my girl and all. But I just love to see, the talent in the ring. I don't care too much for the weird stuff that they put in women's wrestling sometimes. I want to see the women go out there and put their talent on for the people who watch it, right? Taryn Terrell, Gail Kim, that's why people are so excited to see it, right? People want to see the talent, right? You remember that Slammiversary match they had with the last Knockout Standing? That match was incredible. People didn't watch that because, well, Taryn Terrell looks good. Well, that might have been a little bit of it, but people don't like ODB because she's the sexiest girl in the world. People like ODB because she's different, because she can, unorthodox. She's kind of unorthodox in what she does. And she can put some talent on in the ring that's different from what we're used to seeing. So this segment, I don't really know what this segment even led to. Pretty much, this segment just was basically, I'm pretty sure it basically led up to a tag team match between. Oh no, it's a knockouts match. It was the 4-way knockouts match between Gail Kim. What was the guy's name? Gail Kim, Angelina Love, not Madison Rain. I'm thinking about Madison Rain because I'm wondering where she is. But Gail Kim, Angelina Love, Taryn Terrell, and Velvet Sky. My question is, if we're gonna have all these knockout championship matches to the point where your boy is wondering where Madison Rain is. Let's think about this. I'm pretty sure Madison Rain versus Brittany a couple weeks ago was for the number one contender spot for the Knockout Championship. Is she hurt or something? Is something going on with her? Because if I'm wrong, let me know. Because I'm pretty sure it was it was for the number one contender spot, but I guess not, because we're gonna have 2 knockouts matches before she even gets a breath at the title. Before she even gets to even touch the title. Pretty much, like, I don't know. I thought that was for the number one contender spot, but I guess not. I guess it was a phony. You're a great big phony. It was pretty much a phony type of match there. She's not the real number one contender, and that may even come up, later on. I'm the real number one contender. Where's my shot? Everybody's gonna be like, where you been? Where you been, bro? Where you been? Pretty much. I don't know what happened to Madison Rain. I don't know if she disappeared. I don't know if she fell to earth. I don't know what's going on. But next, you have Sonata versus Low Key versus Samoa Joe for the World Heavyweight X Division title. I sound like MVP. I sound like MVP or Dixie Carter. The World Heavyweight X Division title of the world in the universe. Like, they be butchering the title's name so much. Like, MVP was like the what did he say? Something about the tag team titles, and Dixie Carter called the World X Division title or something like that. it was crazy, but the World Heavyweight X Division title or something like that. But anyway, we had the X Division title on the line. Sonata, Low Key, and Samoa Joe going at it. 3 on 1 on 1 on 1. Yeah, 1 on 1 on 1. So I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Sonata seems a little bit uncomfortable to me, and that may just be playing into the intimidated by James Storm gimmick he's putting on right now. He just looks really uncomfortable. He looks like he's like not necessarily lost. He just looks really uncomfortable, and I don't know if it's because he used to be in a face or what. I before I get into the match, I wouldn't be surprised with the Sonata situation if they go with a little bit of they go with a situation to where Sonata, he doesn't feel respected by James Storm, so he kind of apologizes to Great Muta. Um, he starts to feud with James Storm because I feel like that's where they were going with it at the beginning. So they may do something where he feuds with Great Muta going into Bound for Glory, because that would be a match that the Japanese would love to see, two of their very own going at it. So I honestly feel like it would be interesting to see. It's like my tonight, like, you know what I mean. Usually like and today I'm like as you just heard it like 3 times just now in like 3 seconds. But anyway, um, you know, oh man. But anyway, you got Sonata looking, like I said, he's looking uncomfortable, and Earl Hebner's kind of slow in this match. Um, your boy Sonata. I don't know who it was exactly, but they were going for a pin, and Earl Hebner was like the slowest man ever. I know he's getting up there in age and all, but he's Earl Hebner will tell you himself he's the greatest referee of all time, right? So the man should be pretty quick on his feet at this point. He's got all the he's got all of it pretty much. He's got all the goods at this point, right? But pretty much Sonata, Low Key, Samoa Joe. This is a pretty good match, but I just can't. I can't. This was a good match to me, but I can't put anything over that Sonata Austin Aries match a couple weeks ago, where Austin Aries defeated Sonata. I just can't, dude. That match was incredible. It was incredible from start to finish. I mean, maybe it started off a little slow, but it was still really good to me, especially for an Impact match. Come on now, your boy was loving that match. This match was pretty good. This match had a lot of talent. Sonata, Low Key, and Samoa Joe. Oh my goodness, get out of here. That match, that match had the talent tonight. But Samoa Joe wins this match. Like I said, there were 2 things in this show that were spoiled for me early on. One, Dixie Carter going through a table, as I talked about in the beginning of the video. I may talk about it a little bit later. And 2, Samoa Joe being the X Division champion. Okay, so I don't even know what I was looking for. I was either looking up Samoa Joe to see where he was, like to see if he was okay, to see if the man was, the man had been struggling or something. The man got hurt or something. I need to make sure, Samoa Joe's a top talent, so I got to make sure everything's cool with the dude. So I look up Samoa Joe, or I looked up X Division Title 1, and I go to Samoa Joe's Wikipedia page. It says Samoa Joe is the current X Division champion. This is like a month ago. I'm upset at this point. I'm like, no, this thing been telling me Samoa Joe is the X Division champion for like a couple months. I'm like, okay, it's completely fine, right? I'm like, okay, this guy is not the X Division champion because obviously this thing had it on there before. I'm trying my best to deny myself. I'm going into denial at this point. I tried my best to stay away from spoilers, guys. I really did. I don't know if it was as hard for you guys. Like, you go look on a wrestling news website, you're like, oh, ran into a spoiler just now, right? You go. And it sucks, right? You go to Wikipedia of all places. You're just trying to get some information and nothing to spoil yourself. And bam, right? Bam! Samoa Joe is the X Division title. I'm crying at this point. I'm like, nah, he ain't the X Division title. He ain't the X Division title. He's not the actual title. He's not the X Division champion, man. He's not. It can't be happening. This can't be. It can't be this way. I couldn't have just spoiled myself. But I did. Turns out he was the X Division champion. And I don't know if Option D comes into effect because Austin Aries lost last week. But it would be interesting to see Lashley versus Samoa Joe in some type of the near future. So I don't think Lashley's gonna go down to the X division or anything. But maybe for the world title, if Bobby Roode doesn't strip it off of him as soon as they start to go. Um, but I don't know. I kind of would like to see maybe Bobby Roode lose to Lashley once, and maybe they have some kind of good rivalry going. So Bobby Lashley loses to Rude, especially if they put on great matches, right? Bobby Lashley loses to Rude, and then Bobby Lashley, Rude loses to Bobby Lashley, and then we kind of have like a back and forth type of thing. That would be cool to see. Especially think about I feel like it's been a pretty credible run so far with Bobby Lashley. Imagine if he beats the longest reigning TNA World Heavyweight Champion, how credible this reign would be, right? Even I would hate to see him beat it, dirty. Why? You know what I mean? I hate to see a dirty victory, but he's been going over clean a lot. The man has been going over clean like crazy. So it would be one of those things you would probably, it would be bring credibility to his run and probably even more to the championship. Basically Joe wins that match. Joe won that match by the Kakina clutch. I am having oh my goodness, all kinds of tongue twisters tonight. I apologize. I really do. I'm really serious right now. I really apologize for every tongue twister ever. And obviously the last segment of the show. This was pretty much the main event of the show. So putting the X Division on as the main event brings back credibility to the X Division again. I feel like and the Dixie Carter going through a table, as you see again in the picture. Dixie Carter does go through a table tonight, something we probably didn't really expect, but it happens. Hashtag it happens, right? Once again, the video, the question of the video, to me personally, is: did you ever think this was really gonna happen in this era of wrestling? That's my main question for tonight. Tweet me at beastmode123100. Message me on Facebook at whatever. Seriously though, like just let me know. Like I love to hear from you guys. I know I got at least 4 loyal viewers that watch me every week. So, and I'm so glad for them. So, one of 4 of you, half of you, half of 4 of you, you know, half of 1 of 4 of anyone can just message me. This review's practically over, so you guys can leave whenever you want to. But guys, I love you guys. I really do. Let me know. Was this what you expected to happen? Did you ever think it would happen? Hashtag it happened. But guys, I'm gonna talk to you guys later. I'll see you guys. There's gonna be more videos of different qualities of no more as freaking tongue twisters and things. There's gonna be some videos up though. I promise you. There's gonna be some more videos, talking about wrestling, the reality era, different things, women's wrestling, whatever we can find to talk about. I'm gonna let y'all talk about it, and I'm gonna talk about it too, right? So guys, I love you guys. I'll see you guys. Peace.